Today is my last day of work at an agency where I worked for more than 6 years. It's a social service agency. We do food shelf, we do emergency cash assistance. Basically, we try to help people who are having a basic needs crisis. So it's been incredibly fulfilling work. My coworkers are more like kind of a work family here. It's the longest place I've ever worked.
Act natural, you guys. Act natural.
And I'm very, very sad to be leaving them and the families who use our services, but so excited to go on this hike.
Got my last paycheck for who knows how long last week, and I thought I might freak out about that a little bit, but so far I'm not having any anxiety.
Packing everything up. It's the day before I leave. It's chaos. My to-do list, I think, had like 50 things on it. It's trying to prepare to leave your life for 6 months is pretty overwhelming, and I made it way harder for myself than I needed to. I was working on a book project for the past year and was determined to get that done before I left, which I did, which is great. But I should have realized that once I finished that, it was going to kind of take on a life of its own. And so I've been, talking with a publisher, and I went to an event last weekend and to try to promote it a little bit, and I've just been focusing too much on that project for too long, and it's impacting my prep for this hike. So pretty stressed out, but of course it's good stress, it's excited stress, and just gonna keep plugging away.
I didn't even think the zipper was that dirty, but check that out. Out for my second to last walk with Buddy. Buddy's 11 years old, and even though he's older, I'd still consider bringing him on this hike if I hadn't tried to bring him last time. I went on a long distance hike and he quit 2 weeks in. Made it 78 miles. And then he staged a little doggy sit-in, and he just started sitting down on the trail every 10 feet. It took me that whole day to figure out that he was not hurt. I kept checking him. He wasn't sick. He was just done, right?
So people ask me a lot, why disrupt your life for 5 months, 6 months, and go try to do something like hiking half of the longest hiking trail in the country. And the simple answer is just that it's what I love. It's what I love to do. I love being out there. I feel the most alive and kind of in tune with nature and just life on this planet in general. But I have to admit that there's one part that I really hate, which is leaving this guy. Everybody else is gonna be okay, but he's just gonna think that I left him, which I am. I feel really guilty about that. But he definitely doesn't want to come with me, and I know he's gonna get really well. He'll be very well taken care of. But I'm gonna miss him. It's like noon on the day that I was planning on leaving at 7 a.m. That's okay. that's okay, because finally get ready to do the final load up. So here we go. 19.2, so it's exactly a pound added in. So yeah, we'll see. That's heavier than I'd like. I'd like to probably be down. I mean, I'd love to be at 15, but I just have not evolved enough yet with gear. I feel like gear is an evolution that people go through, and hopefully I'll experience some of that on this trip. Maybe I'll learn that some of the things I bring with are more a reflection of this life rather than that life. So we'll see.
My plants are on their own. To be honest, I wasn't taking that good care of them anyway. Insanely busy. Hang in there, little guys.
Life has been anything but simple lately. Just been, man, going to the max every minute to get ready for this trip, to publish the book, and now scrambling to get to the trail festival, scrambling to get to the trail, and man, I hope that feeling doesn't last the whole trip. I hope I'm able to relax. I wish I could do it right now. I wish I could just relax, but I just feel I need to get there, so it's probably just my mindset. I'm definitely already getting very conservative about expenses. So last night when I needed to stay somewhere, I could have stopped at a motel, but I didn't. I went to a little city campground, which was $20 for the night. And there was a really, really appetizing sign for a Swedish restaurant in town. I was like, oh, I really want to go to a Swedish restaurant. But instead I went to the gas station, got some bananas, jerky. Probably not a smart idea to be eating jerky already before I'm on the trail, but I've been craving it. I think I'm in trail mind already. A little bars and jerky, I'm sure, are gonna get old really quick. Yesterday I was talking about just feeling so like harried and stressed out and rushing, and thankfully, apparently just talking about it with you guys kind of made me stop doing that. So now I'm kind of switching into explorer mode, where your mind starts to just kind of open and you get really mindful about everything around you. I'm observing everything, just have a million questions. I'm just having this impulse to stop and talk to everybody and be like, tell me your story, and questions, just this insatiable curiosity about our world and life on it, human or animal, and how people experience it, because it's all really different, and I think it's all really cool. So yeah, all of that's starting already. So now I'm gonna keep driving to Bel Air, Michigan, eat my bananas and my breakfast in the car. Holy crap, that is cool. Look at that. This thing is 5 miles long. This is definitely the biggest bridge or the longest bridge I've ever been on. Wow. This is crazy. Okay, I actually have to drive now. I should really need to stop shooting video while I'm physically driving, but how cool is that? Oh, that's wiggly. So I want to introduce you guys to Lisa Light. Say hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Lisa's my first official trail angel. I was just telling her thank you so much, because I think she saved me about $100 of my trip, because she's letting me stay here this weekend for the trail celebration, and she also is letting me stay here again when I hike through in a couple weeks. And store a resupply box here. So thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, glad I can help.
And Lisa's doing her own amazing hike this summer. So would you tell people a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure. I am, I'm trying to hike the whole lower peninsula from the Michigan-Ohio border up to the bridge. So I've been day hiking from the border up to White Cloud, and then I plan on this summer doing one big stretch from White Cloud up to the bridge.
That's amazing. And how many total miles is Lower Peninsula, Michigan?
I think it's like 550, 600, something like that.
Yeah, crazy. So this is a huge, wonderful part of hiking a trail like this.
You never know who you're going to meet and what friendships you're going to make. It's a wonderful experience all around, on trail and off.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, guys, here's Luke. He's a 2013 thru-hiker of the NCT with his book now available in print.
So I'm Luke Jordan, also known as Strider. I'm a former thru-hiker of the North Country Trail.
For folks who are hoping to do a thru hike, a long distance hike, and are considering which trail to pick, what would you tell them about the North Country Trail in comparison to some of the other national scenic trails?
Sure. Well, it is very unique, I think, compared to a lot of the other trails, as far as even just basic, scenery goes. Whereas with North Country Trail, you got tall grass prairie on one end. You got what we call the North Woods and kind of the central portion. You got more open farm country and also some heavily populated areas, kind of on the southern part. And then you kind of finish or start on the east end in the mountains. So you kind of get a more diverse experience. Also, if you're looking to have an experience like I did where you want more solitude and want to get away from people, Appalachian Trail is probably not the best place to go. And to put it in perspective, I was the only long distance hiker that I encountered while I was out there was myself.
I think the other thing that might be intimidating for people is the fact that it's 4,600 miles.
Right.
And, I see people attempting the International Appalachian Trail, but they have the advantage of a trail running, north to south versus, west to east.
Right.
So what can you tell people about the kind of seasons? Because you're going to face winter conditions if you want to do a thru hike on this trail. And also kind of the daily mileage you would recommend people do.
So I had that thought. I knew that I was going to have winter on at least one end, if not both, of the trail. So my goal was to just pick a reasonable date to start. My cutoff point was going to be hard, April 1st. I had to be on the trail by then. With the trail this long, I knew that my goal then was to beat winter on the east end. And so in order to do that, I did the math, and if you hike 20 miles a day with zero, breaks, it'll take you exactly 7 months to do the North Country Trail. So I wanted to do it a little bit quicker than that. So I decided on, 25 is a good thing to shoot for. And I ended up averaging that throughout the entire hike, and it took me about 6.5 months to do it. And my plan didn't quite go according as I wanted to, because we had a abnormally long winter out in Minnesota.
This happens frequently.
Right.
Yeah, every year we're delusional about it. Yeah.
Right. So I had to wear snowshoes the first 6 weeks, so I was a little bit behind schedule. Yeah. And that's not a typical winter, even in Minnesota. It's kind of that's kind of the exception. And but with that 25 mile a day pace, I was able to finish in New York mid-October before winter conditions had set in again. Okay. So that's really one thing that you should expect if you're doing a thru hike, is that you're going to have adverse weather at some point along the journey.
What were for you the most surprising outcomes of achieving a 4,600 mile hike?
Most surprising outcomes? I was actually surprised with myself that I even did it, because I was a rookie at the time. It was my first thru hike, which is kind of a rare case. Yeah. Most people start on one of the big three. They'll start on the AT or the PCT or the CDT. The vast majority of those doing the AT, and I wasn't the case. But I've always been kind of a unique individual where I kind of take the path less traveled, and I just wanted to do something different. So I decided to find a lesser known trail that nobody had ever heard of, and at the time only 3 people had thru hiked it. So I wanted to continue that story and do what I could to kind of put it on the map. The thing that was probably most surprising was the sheer amount of trail magic and people that I met along the way. For a lesser known trail, I wasn't expecting half of the hospitality I received, and that was a real treat for sure. But just overall, just being an inexperienced hiker at the time, where prior to that thru hike, my longest trip was 100 miles. I didn't know if I'd make it. I just told myself I was going to do the best I could and get as far as I could, and ended up making it all the way. So I kind of surprised myself, and after that, I felt like I could do anything. If I could do this trail, the AT will be a piece of cake someday.
stumbled on the trail by accident in 1988, saw a sign I was driving past, and took my first hike on it in 1991. In 92, my friend Marie and I did a short, like 33-mile backpacking trip. And we kind of looked at each other and said, well, do we want to keep doing this? We had been hikers and campers long ago, but raised families in the middle. And we're like, well, yeah, let's keep doing this. So we started doing longer hikes, and I finished the entire trail in 2010.
Wow. So how many years total was that?
I spent 20 years hiking it.
Incredible. That's amazing.
This is a long, long trail. It's up to you what kind of hike you would like to have. If you want to backpack it, that's great. But if you want to just bite it off in day hike size pieces, that is absolutely fine too. In fact, this is a trail that you should slow down and enjoy and savor every single piece of, because there's such a huge diversity of experiences along the trail. So pick a chunk that interests you, and there's sure to be one, whether it's mountains or prairies or small towns or rural life or forests, and just start hiking.